How are you doing today? We've got a really exciting drop that's coming tomorrow. So the plan today will be to show you everything that's in that drop and we'll be going live at 5 p.m. Central Time in Chicago. So we'll go through all the different products. I wanted to talk a little bit about the Patina Thunderdome, which many of the products that are coming up tomorrow, we had that event in mind for. So I'll explain a little bit about the Thunderdome. And then at the end here, if anybody had any questions about things, I'm happy to chat about it. We already have a question. What's the Thunderdome? So there is an event that's hosted by Stitchdown and the Patina Project. And historically, this Thunderdome event it was a boot wearing competition where you're supposed to buy a new pair of boots or shoes and show how they wear over the course of several months, with the hope of showing a beautiful transformation in the leather, just to sort of show how the different leathers wear in over time and compare it from where they started. And this year is the first time ever that they are having leather goods. So let me see if I can pull up Patina Thunderdome. I'm gonna just search that very quickly. Should have probably prepped that. Pardon me. Let me show you this. What's the Thunderdome is a very good question. So Stitchdown has this awesome website. It's mostly about wearing boots and stuff. But this year they are adding leather goods, like I said. So there's an app called the Patina Project app where you go on and you register yourself and your item, take photos of it, and then you win prizes. So I think these were one of the boots that won from before. And here's some of the other winners. So it's a pretty cool thing to experience, to check out the different stuff. $60,000 in prizes. I think last year they gave away a trip to Japan for the winner, which is pretty amazing. So yeah, it's on this Patina Project app. So if you search Patina Thunderdome, you will find it through Google, and this is what you're looking for here. It's kind of a fun thing. So we thought it would be a smart idea to include some wallets for this event, because like I said, this is the first time they're letting small leather goods participate. So it could be a belt, a wallet, a bag, I believe, other things like that. And Sprawley, you totally made it. Welcome. Here to rage in the Thunderdome. Great. All right, Clayton, I'm glad you want to rage. So let's take a look at some of the products that are going to be going live tomorrow, Thursday, September 18th at 5 p.m. Central Time, Chicago. Here is the first item. And I'm so excited about these new laptop briefcases. I am looking at you right now through a MacBook, and that's what we designed this to fit around, is the larger size MacBook Pros. They will fit inside this bag. We did one of these last week, also in Aspen, but the one from last week was a different color. So this time we've got it in navy horsehide Aspen, and it's beautiful. I actually have it next to me right here, and we can look at it later too. We took a couple lifestyle shots here in the city to give you a sense of the size of it. So it's not like a huge bag, but it fits that a laptop. It's sort of like a normal size briefcase. And like I said, fits the laptop. We've got this front pouch that is open-ish. It has a snap closure, but this is more of like a easy access, quick access thing. And then we've included this time, based on your feedback. And by the way, I'm so glad to have everybody's input on these new bags, because one of the changes we made from your feedback is the inclusion of 2 zipper pulls. So you're now able to open it from each side. And then we have other details on it. The handles are all made in that heavy duty Align Latigo. That's a belt weight leather. And then on the inside, we have this nice gray canvas liner. And the other feature is this pass-through strap for luggage. So if you're traveling around through airports, you just slide it over the top of your luggage handle and you zip on through. and I love it. We also have, I'm really happy with the strap that we've got going on. Let's see if I can find a photo of it. Yeah. So we have another detail to go over, a matching shoulder pad that matches the body of the bag. So there's accents or details on the pad itself that match that same navy aspen, but the leather that goes through for the strap itself is, again, that heavy duty Align Latigo. This is the same leather that we've been using on our everyday belts. And we've had a couple special events with other black Align and brown Align belts. I think this Align Latigo leather that Horween's making is out of this world nice, especially for a belt and especially for a shoulder strap. It's very stout. It's full of a harder wax, like a paraffin wax. So as you wear it and the leather heats up, it actually will start to mold very quickly to anything you want to put inside of it. So your waist or your shoulder in this case, it's great. We do not have YKK zippers. We are using Riri zippers for these, and I think there's some other photos we'll get into in a second here. But the zippers are all Riri zippers, which I find to be very nice. They're very, very smooth. I like the action on them personally. So I have a little bit of a bias there. I'm trying to source out some other zippers because the problem with Riri, to be honest, is they're really, really expensive, which is not necessarily a problem. I just want to make the best thing, but there are some options I'm looking at that are made in the United States that are great as well, but I want to test those. So here's another look at the strap. We've got solid brass hardware for everything, including the snaps for this section. And then it's adjustable in length, because some of the other feedback we had with people saying, oh, these straps are made for giants. We need an adjustable strap. So that's what we've done here for the strap. Your girlfriend took your old zip wallet. She loves the Riri zippers. I do too, man. I really like, they're just very satisfying to slide around. I don't know, it seems silly to enjoy, but the zippers are fun. So there's a look at the zippers. The other thing we're doing on this bag that I really like are, and they're not easy to get, but black finished metal zippers. So it's all black finished teeth, as well as the black pulls, I think is a really good look. And we've tried something a little different here too and made these long lace details that are threaded through the zipper pulls. I think it's really cool. So we got the Riri zippers, our little badge. You can see the snap closure here also in black. So everything's black for the hardware, which I think is a cool look. And we've been experimenting with that. So I'd be curious to hear your feedback on different color hardware, because you can do silver, you can do brass, you can do antique brass. I'm kind of leaning towards the black. I think it's a pretty awesome look. Mus says, I've been creating a lot of cool stuff. Why not look into making jackets or a limited run of jackets? Hey, I'm open to it, man. Like I said, we're kind of just trying to make things based on your feedback, which is why I love doing these live streams. So jackets are a tough business, but we, in theory, could do jackets as well. I'm thinking bags are a good direction for us in addition to all the wallets we do. So speaking of wallets, let's start looking at some more of the limited releases. So there is one of these bags. I do intend to make more, but I'm really looking for your feedback. I think an iPad will fit in the front, Clayton. That's actually a good question. I haven't tested that. You will certainly be able to fit an iPad inside of this bag, but I'm not certain about the front section here. I think it would. It's pretty, I should test that before giving you information. I don't want to lie. Oh, you got a mouse pad, Jesse. Cool, man. Yeah, clothing is tough to size for jackets. I have to tell you, I love Shots jackets. We've done a handful of jackets years ago, and I like it, but correct, the sizing is really hard. It's almost like you have to bespoke it to make a leather jacket look extra cool in my experience. Let's get into some of the wallets. We've got, again, based on your feedback, people seem to be really enjoying this version here called the Mini Fox. And this is just like our standard Johnny the Fox, except we've made it as tight and punchy as possible while still remaining sort of that standard billfold concept that people are familiar with. So this one has 2 card slots on the left, 2 on the right. There's hidden card slots underneath. So it's 1 less card slot than our standard Johnny the Fox, which reduces the thickness and then the overall footprint of the wallet itself. And this is made in a really cool piece of cordovan. This is a marbled cordovan. I believe this is marbled black. So when they layer on the stains of black at the tannery, they put multiple stain coats. And the black dyes that they use are tinted with a little bit of green. So as that finish is scraped away to give you this marbled effect, the color turns a little green, still retains some black, but then it fades down to that orangey tan, more of like a natural cordovan color, which is super cool. Shots, I'll do some shots. Can we order wallets made with thicker leather if requested? Yes, Mr. O, we can do that. I will tell you, we've been doing this now for 14 years. And over this 14 years, I've seen a trend towards and away from thin and thick wallets. It's really interesting because 10 years ago, people wanted the thickest leather possible. And now it seems like people really want thin leathers, which is interesting. But the cordovan material itself, as it comes to us, has a natural varying range of thicknesses. Typically for a wallet, we're trying to use around 4 ounces for most of the pattern pieces. And because that leather is of a variable thickness, it can be really challenging to work with as a small leather goods maker. We take a lot of time to pick for our designs. We know that on the inside of a Johnny the Fox, for example, those card pockets need to be thinner leather, and cordovan is not always thin. It's actually much harder to get thin leather. So we choose around 2 to 3 ounces thick for the interior pieces, and then the exterior we will use around 4 ounces. The cordovan can go up to like 10 ounces in pretty rare occasions. This is all to say that I can make it thicker or thinner if you want, but you just need to email us for that. And if you just tell, hey, I want it as thick as possible, we can absolutely do that for you. So let's go back to here. So marbled, somebody's asking what my favorite shell variant is. I gravitate towards the amaretto shell, which is kind of like the orange color in this Mini Fox here. It's like a beautiful, vibrant orangey tan. And then, so we got patina. So I mentioned the Patina Thunderdome. This leather on the screen right now is raw natural shell cordovan, meaning it has not been glazed or polished in at all. So it will give you the most room to develop any patina you want to put on it. So as this is worn in your pocket and you're walking around all day, it's constantly going to be accumulating moisture from your body and then polishing within your pocket. So it will quickly, very quickly become darker, more golden brown, and then bright and shiny. So if you want the ultimate patina, I recommend raw natural shell and reverse shell, and that's exactly what this wallet is here. This one we also call epic because it has all this epic figuring in the shell itself. It's a flat texture, but it has this sort of visible striations in the leather that I think are really beautiful. You can see what I'm talking about here. There's no feel texture to it, but it has that really interesting figuring in the leather. I think it's super cool. You go kayaking, surfing, and leave your cards in the car during a hot day. Don't bring any Ashland wallets when I do this. Okay, so Jesse, depending on how hot, that's a really good topic actually. So a lot of the leathers that we use are vegetable tan leathers, including the cordovan. And vegetable tan leathers do not play well with heat. So if you heat them up too hot, so say you were to leave your veg tan leather wallet on the dashboard of your car in the sun, it will actually cook that leather and it might start to appear a little bit dried out. And even in some extreme circumstances, that leather could crack. There are other leathers that we use that are combination tanned, meaning that they're tanned with metal and bark, tree barks. Those are more resilient to heat. So I would recommend something like our cypress leather if you're gonna be getting it hot. So yeah, but if the car's not getting over about 120 degrees, would you be surprised in the sun it gets up to that temperature? I wouldn't worry about it unless you're getting north of 100 degrees. So hopefully that helps a bit. We're back onto here. So we got the raw natural, Johnny the Fox, the epic raw natural with a reverse interior. Get the nice Horween USA stamp. This one is telling us that the tannery stamps every piece of leather that they send. They'll stamp with their Horween USA like authentication stamp, because for years they were actually getting ripped off and customers wanted to know they were getting the real thing. So this is telling you that's from Horween USA. And then down here it's telling you that this was 1.7 feet squared, and then it will say the grade. That stamp's a little bit not visible for the whole context of it. Oh, and then we got the BMF. I don't know if I can curse on YouTube. We've been getting a lot of interest for this wallet, so we decided to make a couple of them. If you wanted this fun one, these will be going up tomorrow as well. And we've got it in the English Tan Dublin. I've been putting out some content on social media showing how this is made, and it seems like people have been really interested. I've been getting a lot of emails requesting this one, so we decided to just give it to you. Here's another beautiful piece. This is natural shell cordovan on the outside. And the inside we got something pretty special, which is Horween's calfskin that they tanned in the 1940s. This happens to be a black color. We've done some 1940s calf in the past in more of a blonde color. That's also beautiful. And this one has a hatch grain texture. And then the long story short with this 1940s calf is that it was a leather that they made, and they were marketing it as something called timber tanned calf back in the 1940s. And they had this leather returned to them back in the 40s, and Skip Horween and his family have been sitting on this leather for all these years trying to reproduce it, and they've never been able to do it exactly the same way. So they had it there as a reference, never used it. So now it's just kind of dead stock stuff. It's pretty thin and it's really cool. I like it on the blonde. I think on this black it's also quite interesting with that hatch grain texture. And what's great about the calf is that it's naturally thinner. So for the inside of a Johnny the Fox like you have here, it's perfect. Then we have the gold foil stamp on the inside as well. Here's one in inverted, I believe, actually this is marbled. This is a marbled color 8, I believe, shell cordovan piece. Sometimes the marbled colors are tough to tell because they're all random, which is also why marbled cordovan's cool, is you're never gonna get two pieces alike, which also makes it great for these limited releases. Because I have to take a photo of every single one because they're all so different. So we've got the marbled with the black. Here's one in marbled. I believe this is a marbled cigar. The marbled cigars it kind of reminds me of fall, like the season of fall for some reason. It's a little bit brown, a little bit orange. Sometimes it's got these like green tints to it as well. But in the past, the marbled cigar has been really popular with us. What's up, It's Renters? And then the inside, I believe that is Armagnac for the inside of this Johnny the Fox. I might be mistaken on that, but it's like a darker whiskey cordovan color, if you're familiar with the whiskey, but it's like a lighter medium brown, but no reds to it, as opposed to something like color 4 or color 8. Those have much more of these burnt cherry, darker burgundy tones. The Armagnac and the whiskey do not have any of that. And then the other thing we did on the last drop that people seem to really respond to was this aspen horsehide. So here's the Johnny the Fox with the black aspen horsehide. This is the same leather tannage that we have on the briefcase that we looked at first, but in a black color. And the aspen's great. It has this natural sort of tumbled pattern, but it's not like pebbly, it's sort of wavy, which I really like. And then a very intense character on the grain of the horses. So the black aspen horsehide is really cool. We did one last week with like a red interior that people really liked. But this one is black with the English tan on the inside. There we go. You can see a little bit more of that figuring in the grain there. It's a great feel. This aspen leather is very resilient. So I think the finish system that they're using on the tops has a stronger binder coat. This will get really nerdy for a second. There's a stronger adhesion binder coat that holds the top coat on to the surface of that grain. And then the top coat itself is made with casein protein. So it's like a bit more resilient to scratches and scuffs, and it's got a really bright shine to it. I actually struggle to get and capture the luster of this leather as well as the color because it's so shiny. It's almost like shooting a photo of the cordovan. Imagine taking a picture of a mirror. It's really difficult to capture just the luster and the sheen of this aspen. It's beautiful. And then of course you get that Great figuring. And the English chant on the inside. We did one as well in the color 8 Aspen. You can see a little bit of the texture there. It's definitely more of a feel texture. And this one's got a bit of a finer break as opposed to the black we were looking at, which is a little bit more of a coarse pattern. This specific piece of color 8 Aspen. Break up. Also really cool with the English tan on the inside. Here's a look at the Aspen again. We've got almost 100 products to go through. I might need to go a little bit more quickly. Here's another mini fox in the raw denim cordovan. So similar to raw natural, except they've applied a stain coat of this blue shade. It's a little bit of like a teal blue, but as the denim cordovan is worn and starts to develop a bit, it becomes darker. So and less green, something interesting there too. As it's worn, it becomes a little bit more navy, but when it starts, it's like an aqua blue, and does give you that room to develop a patina. And that's a look at the inside of it with a reverse interior. I like this one as well. So here's a reverse Epic Splatter blue. So this is unintended by the tannery. They make the blue leather for the other side of this. So this is the back side of the leather, and sometimes you get this really cool splattered look. I really like this one. It's almost like a verdigris, like Statue of Liberty as it's aged kind of color. It's sort of a greenish blue with some tans in there, and then a reverse interior as well. You can see more of the splatter here. Again, the tannery is not trying to control this. So when we see them and they look interesting like this, we like to cut them into pieces. And then the other thing about the reverse cordovan is it's very accepting of patina. So this will darken, become a little dark, a little bit more golden, and a brighter luster as well. It ages in a similar way to the raw natural shells. And here's one in reverse color 8, and we're featuring heavily the Horween Shell Cordovan ink stamp. Sprally, I wonder how quick access card holder on the outside of Vagina the Fox would work. I love that feedback. We should experiment with that. That's a good idea. But the cordovan gets stamped by the tannery with this, again, another authentication oval stamp, which is ink. And a lot of people are seeking this ink stamp for their pieces. So we try to cut them into visible spots and interesting spots into the wallet. So this one has one on the outside as well as one partially on the inside. And we have another one, I believe. Yeah, 2 different ones in the reverse color 8. Each of these will have their own product pages. So if you're interested in this one and you decide to buy it, it'll be exactly the one you get. And again, the reverse wears in really well. Here's something a little bit more straight up. So the classic color 8 cordovan on the Mini Fox as well. Really nice piece of shell here. We've hand stained the edges to match the cordovan that you can see on the edge of the wallet here. It gives it a really clean look. Some people like a raw colored edge, or an uncolored or undyed edge. I gravitate towards adding some color to the edges, personally. I just think it cleans it up a bit. And Mini Fox there, a little bit smaller. We've got one in black shell, which is also super nice. I think the black cordovan, it's not great for patina, to be honest. Like, you're not gonna get a color transformation, but you will start to develop layers of luster. So it's like the leather wants to glow from inside, and it's beautiful. But I just think the black shell is so nice. And it's a little bit more common, which is why I think it's a little less appreciated, but black cordovan's badass. It's awesome. And we got the hand stained edge on this one as well. Here's one in black Dublin. I'm trying to get more Mini Foxes out based on your feedback. It seems like people like this concept of a little bit of a smaller guy. Here's another new thing. So we've got our, I guess we'll call it a pencil pouch. I haven't really come up with a name for it yet. But we've got a pencil pouch here in English and Dublin. Re-zipper again. This time we've added this little pull handle, tab. I don't know what to call it. A little tab that you can hold on to as you close the zipper pull. And then the other thing that we've got new on this is a canvas liner. So we're experimenting with adding some canvas on the inside. There was some feedback from before where people were interested in this type of pouch for more of use with makeup. So we will be experimenting with a polyester nylon liner that will be washable. So if you get all your makeup on the inside, you'll be able to quickly clean it out. This one is not that. This one has canvas on the inside. So just a little bit of an upgrade. It's a nice look. And then the English Tan Dublin, of course, that's our best-selling leather in color. Yo, Marco. Hopefully you're having a nice lunch. Marco in the chat here works at Horween. I believe you're still in the splitting department. And we have another pencil pouch here. This one is in Epic Teal. Has that sort of like ripple waves. If you look at that like a body of water or something, that's how I feel the Epic Teal looks like. And this is, I believe this is horsehide. So it's a little bit thinner. Then we've got the same new pole handle tab on the one side. This one does not have a liner on the inside, but we do finish the back sides of all the leather, a little bit of wax and a little bit of resin and iron it smooth. So it's got a nice finish on both sides. Here's another thing we don't do very often. This is our long wallet with a zipper. So it's a bigger piece for sure, but you will be able to fit US dollars without folding them on the inside of this in multiple compartments. This one, somebody was asking earlier what my favorite shell color is. This is my favorite cordovan color. It's the amaretto. It's got a little bit more vibrance and liveliness to it as opposed to the natural. Kind of similar to the natural, but a little bit more orange, I'd say. And then the inside we have English Tan Dublin. You can see this larger compartment in the center where you can fit your cash. You can also put cash behind the back two pockets, and there's the same card layout on both sides. And it zips closed with these gussets. A larger piece and a huge piece of cordovan. It's tough to get big pieces of cordovan to make something like this. Here's a look at the inside and the outside. Re-zipper on that one as well. Here's another piece of raw natural shell. This is a vertical Bugs Moran with a reverse interior. You can see the Horween USA stamp, 2.2 feet squared for that guy. So that's actually kind of a larger piece of cordovan. They don't get much bigger than 2 square feet, which is sucks because it would be amazing if they were bigger and I could make a cordovan bag. And then the raw natural on the outside is going to give you a great patina. This one has some of that epic figuring in it as well. Here's one in garnet cordovan. That's one of the other things we're featuring in the drop today, some garnet shell cordovan stuff. This is the most red color that Horween makes. As this color is worn in, it becomes a little bit more like a color 8, a little bit darker, more of like a deep cherry. But garnet's beautiful as well. I think garnet, amaretto, and denim cordovan have less of a blend of dyes, so they tend to be more vibrant from what I've seen. Where sometimes when they blend colors together to make a specific shade, like mahogany or something, those colors can appear a little bit more of like an earth tone, a little bit muddier, where the amaretto, garnet, and denim are much more vibrant because I think they're just using one type of stain. Here's one in cigar and reverse. Now this is our 50-50 bugs, so we have vertical card slots on the left and then traditional card slots on the right. And then that cigar on the outside. Is that cigar or color 8? I think that's cigar. Here's one in Epic Splatter Reverse Blue. To get all that random splattering with the 50-50 on the inside. Pretty awesome. And that will become quite shiny with normal use. It starts off a little bit more of like a matte finish. This is another one, I think, no? Oh, maybe there's just one of those. Yeah, just one of those. Here's another piece of aspen. This is the aspen horsehide in the navy color, the same as the bag at the top. But we made a vertical 8-slot bugs this time. So we've got the navy on the outside with the color 8 on the inside. This has 2 additional card slots on the top, so 3 on each side, and then hidden card slots underneath. The form factor of this is actually kind of surprising. It's about as big as a passport. It's a little bit bigger because of those extra card slots. And I'm trying to show a little bit of the luster of that aspen. It's shiny. It's pretty nice. Here's one in the acorn color, also aspen. You can see a little bit of the luster there, the sheen to it, and a little bit of the texture. Definitely see a lot of the horse grain right here. Horsehide and the grain character of the horse is much more intense and pronounced than calf and any bovine stuff. It looks like this. It's very intense grain, which I like. And then we've got color 8 on the inside of that as well. Here's a Fat Herbie in Epic Raw Natural, or excuse me, Epic Normal Natural. So this one has been polished. So it starts off a little bit shinier. We have one in Raw, but this, see how this Raw is a little bit darker? That's the other thing with the natural color. They're not applying any stains. So what you're really seeing is just the color of the tree barks, as well as the color of the oils, waxes, and greases that they tan into the leather. So it will vary a bit. But if you want patina, the raw stuff is as good as it gets for patina. Here's another one in natural shell. And another one. I think there's 4 of these, and they're all different. You can see that the texture here on the inside is much more dramatic with the figuring. And then another thing we haven't done in years, I'm very excited about this. This is Horween's Essex leather in the natural color. Essex is bovine leather. This is a steer hide that is tanned in the same way that the shell cordovan is, but there's no shell in it. So you get the same aging character on the natural Essex as you might experience on the natural cordovan. It darkens very quickly. From what I've experienced with the natural Essex in the past, is this is a patina monster. It ages very nicely. And here's a first time we've done this. This is horsebutt leather in a waxy finish. So there's like a wax layer put over the top in the brown color. So it's a waxy horsebutt with some of this epic texture that you often see in that horsebutt leather. It's really cool. So it's the first time we've done that. Speaking of patina, this is the Epic Natural Pit Tanned Horsebutt. Again, patina, patina, patina. This is a patina bomb. I love the figuring on this particular one. Chris Lee, is Essex also hot stuff? No, it is not. Horween only hot stuffs, I think, 5 different leathers. I might be mistaken there, but Chrome Excel, Shell Cordovan, the Illini that we do, those are hot stuff leathers. This leather here is actually hot stuffed. This is the horsebutt that's tanned alongside the cordovan. So it's kind of like the Essex actually, but except it's horsebutt. But it gets all the same treatments as the cordovan in the tanning process. I love that one for patina. Here's another Acorn Aspen Herbie. This one I cut. It's a little tough to tell in this photo, but we cut the horse mane into the spine of the wallet as well as on, and you can see a little bit better there. The mane has this really interesting texture to it. And there's not often like an interesting spot to cut. So when I do see them, I'd like to cut them into the spine. So we've got it there as well as on the centers of the card pockets. So you can see a little bit of the difference in the texture here. And I made it continue throughout the inside. So that's a special one. And then we have another Acorn Aspen Herbie here. This one that does not have the mane cut into it though. So you can see a little bit of the difference. And then, so this is Garnet Cordovan with a reverse interior for the Fat Herbie. And I think, by the way, there's some B grades in this drop. We haven't done a lot of B grades in the limited releases before. They're discounted for cosmetic reasons. This might be one of them. I think this is one of our B grades, so you'll save like, I think it's like $75 less for the B grades on this design. But there's some blems in here if I recall. But that's color 8 with reverse. And then we have a prototype version of a Frank the Enforcer here. This is a 5-slot Frank with a skip stitch. And Patina Bomb, I should start naming, we should just rename Essex to Patina Bomb or even the natural horsebutt. They age so well. So if you're into that transformation, that's where it's at. Hot stuffed horsebutt. The innuendos are endless. So anyways, prototype version here. I really like this idea. This was a customer's idea. They wanted to see this open side of the wallet, which you can see it's only sewn down on 2 sides. So you can get at the inside center a little bit more easily for your cash. And I think it's a great idea that one of our customers had. And then the leather on this is also remarkable. So we've got some marbled Western texture for this 5-slot Frank. It's beautiful. Sort of like an antique look. And then we have a Capone money clip here in Acorn Aspen with Navy Aspen. I kind of like being able to see that sandwich of colors in the cross section. It's kind of fun. That's an acorn on navy on the inside, and the same thing on the outside. We have a gold clip on this one as well. Here's one in all reverse cigar cordovan with a hand stained edge. So it's got like a brown edge on it, which frames it out nicely. And these also develop a great patina. I should probably stop saying that because like just about everything we do has great patina potential. Here's a popular one. People really like this black on garnet. That's what we have here on the Capone. This one is a black money clip on the inside as well. It's a good look. Here's a reverse on garnet with a black stained edge and a black clip, black stitching. Here's a fan favorite color. You don't see a lot of violet cordovan, but that's what we have here. I believe this is our passport version, yeah. So this is kind of like the Fat Herbie, but it's a little taller to more easily accommodate a passport on the inside right here. But look how nice that shell is. That's as good as it gets for shell cordovan. What you're looking for a nice piece of shell is bright luster and smooth, like basically no texture. And a great feel. I think the feel of the leather is where a lot of the other non-Horween tanneries making cordovan, that's where they fall flat. Is some of the other cordovan feels a little bit boardy, a little bit firm. It doesn't have a nice hand feel to it. The cordovan stuff is always very nice and round. It's this interesting thing where it's firm and soft at the same time. That's kind of what you're looking for on the cordovan. Like it has some body to it, but doesn't feel like a cardboard. And that's how the passport fits on the inside of this one. Violet shell is really cool. They don't make a lot of that. Here's one in garnet. And then we have a couple lucky card holders. Natural Essex again. Patina bomb, should have called it. Shout out to the Vikings fan. Yeah. Man, the Bears suck again. I'm so mad. I just want a good football team. Lucky card holder here is that same idea with the skip stitch on the side. I really like the Natural Essex. Maybe we should bring it back. Here's a lucky card holder in the Epic Teal. And this is Horween's Latigo leather. Love the figuring on the grain there. Here's one in black. So this is black Dublin. This does not have the skip stitch. So you can see it's sewn down on all but the top side. Here's a lucky card holder in the Epic Splatter reverse blue. Also great for patina. Here's one in garnet shell. Really nice piece of cordovan. And that's the most red color that they make. All of the cordovan colors are kind of earth tones because of the tree barks and the oils they use. It's hard to get a bright shade on it. So this garnet is about as vibrant as you'll see of a red. Would Epic Teal be heat-resistant cypress? So, great question, Jesse. Both the teal Latigo and the cypress, that's actually a really good question because I can talk too much about it. So, Horween's Latigo leather is a leather they've been making for 60 years. It is when you say the word Latigo, it's almost like a generic leather word because every tannery has their own Latigo. It's a little bit more of like, it comes from the Western world, where they'll use it in tack and saddlery and those types of things. It's a hard wearing leather. And because of the requirements for that part of the world, in the equestrian world, they have a high demand for strong, heat resistant, sun resistant leather. So Horween's Latigo is a combination tan leather, meaning it's tanned with metal and tree barks. So it's chrome tanned and then vegetable retanned. That's what Latigo means to a lot of people. But Horween's Latigo is really special. I love it. And that's what the teal was a second ago. If you apply a layer of wax over the surface of the grain of the Latigo, you transform it into a different product called cypress. So cypress is essentially just waxed Latigo, to make it simple. Both of which are heat resistant because they are chrome tanned for their base tannage. Then they get a second vegetable tannage with tree barks, and then Cypress gets a wax layer put on the surface. Hopefully that, part of the reason I started doing all this is because the leather world is just so confusing. It takes sentences and paragraphs to understand it. So I try my best to demystify a little bit. This is a fun one with garnet on blue. Yeah, you got it, Jesse. Thank you, man. Thanks for a great question. The Saints suck too. Are they good this year? Or oh, you're a Saints fan and they suck. Yeah. Oh, football. I just want the Bears to be good for once. When I first moved to Chicago and started working at the tannery in 2006, the Bears were good, and that was the last time. So we got the 50-50 Tony here. So Tony the Ant is something we don't stock actually at all anymore, but I know that people still like this design. So we tried to put some Tony the Ants into the limited releases, and then this is a variation on the Tony where we call it the 50-50. So you have the vertical and traditional card slots on the inside. And here's, I believe it's another 50-50 here with reverse on blue. Oh, the Reds. You got, isn't Ellie De La Cruz on the Reds though? He's great. I really like this combination too, by the way. Something about like a natural and blue together have always been a nice combination. And then there's the 50-50 on the inside where we've combined slots together. I like this idea too. I prefer, people have done these live streams before, might be annoyed by hearing this again. I like at least one of the top card slots to be reverse, because when you close this wallet up and this panel rubs against that panel, if they were both shell, the shell will actually scratch itself. It's not necessarily a problem, but the scratches are more easily filled in on the reverse cordovan. And then when the reverse is touching the shell, they don't abrade each other as much. So I prefer at least having one interior be not shell. So this is a great makeup here. Here's a beautiful piece, another beautiful piece of denim cordovan on Tony the Ant with a reverse, it looks like, interior. Yeah, 50-50 on this guy too. And here's another one with some epic splatter. You can see this denim piece is a little bit lighter, a little bit more aqua, slightly tinted with green. Also beautiful. This one is a straight up vertical Tony though, so we don't have the traditional card slots at all. So standard bill slot in the back with two vertical slots on each side and then hidden slots underneath each. I love the patterning of this reverse. Here's the Patina Bomb. So we've got a Tony with the natural Essex. Again, just about as good as it gets for patina. This, the raw natural, all the light colors will give you more room to grow for the patina. Here's another epic teal. Awesome. I love that. It's just like ripples on the water. So cool. This will also develop beautifully. The difference with the Cypress, which has the wax, versus the Latigo, is because you don't have on the Latigo, you don't have the barrier of that wax. So it gives you a little bit more openness of the grain to accept more patina. So this darkens pretty easily and pretty nicely. It's a beautiful piece. So Tony the Ant with their traditional slots. This isn't a little bit thinner. I should probably label it as a thin Tony, and I will do that. It's nice. Here's one in color 8, I believe. Although this piece looks a little browner. Maybe that's more of like a, it might be mahogany for the cordovan on the outside. See how you don't see much red undertones? That's the giveaway for me. The color 8 often has a little bit more of that burnt cherry. This is a little browner, more of like a straight up brown. So it might be cigar or mahogany. They kind of encroach on each other from time to time. And it has a reverse interior. Here's color 8. This one I think is certainly a B grade. It's got some funky like modeling you might be able to see there in the shell. We tried to polish that out, but it's in there. So I thought I would discount it for that reason. There are also a couple dents in here that I don't love. So you get a pretty decent discount on that. I think this type of stuff is cool personally. I can't send it as an A grade because it has all these blems in it. But this is the type of thing, if you wear your wallet really hard, you're gonna see this type of stuff happen within the first day of using it. And I think the harder you wear all the Horween leather stuff, including the cordovan, the cooler it gets. So I would actually beat the snot out of it and make it better and better. I've been wearing my stuff hard on purpose, like on a cypress. I've been wearing brown cypress and just trying to put cards on the outside of it in the bill slot and like put keys next to it. It's invincible. The cypress leather like really wants to take a beating and get nicer. So that's kind of the goal. All right, another acorn and navy aspen. This time we have a quick bugs. So we have the quick access slot on the outside here and the acorn sitting on top of navy. And then the traditional layout on the inside. On your raw shell wallet, you have a quarter you set imprinted. See, I think that's cool. Hopefully you like that quarter imprint. I think that's awesome looking. I love seeing that little depth and then it makes it wear in an interesting way. Here's another patina bomb. We got the natural Essex. I believe this is a standard Bugs Moran in the natural Essex. Yep, it's great from patina. Here's a garnet shell piece with a reverse interior, Bugs Moran. With 2 ink stamps on the inside. Here's a straight up garnet one. And the garnet shells we've been getting recently have started to trend back a little bit more red. There was about a year there where the garnet dyes coming out of the tannery started to read a little bit more color 4, if you're familiar with color 4, which is a little bit browner. This recent batch we're getting and cutting from is more red. I believe this is also B grade in a raw natural. It's like all messed up, which is like, I think it's awesome. But a unique piece here, I'm discounting this one too. I think mainly because of this little scratch there. But the raw stuff is hard because we can't polish it. So what we get from the tannery is what we make. So if you want a beat up one, B grade here, that's gonna wear in great and you won't even notice scratches. It just needs to get polished up. It'll be nice. You got a raw interior, reverse interior. I believe this is also a B grade. There's a couple B grades in here. This is the Epic Natural on the outside, but I think the inside is standard cordovan. You can see some of the scratches here, which make it a B grade. Yeah, so this is standard shell on the inside, some funky scratches on the inside right. Again, it's one of those things you wear it for a day. Those are the type of scratches you'd see. Here's another one. You can see a good scratch looking thing there, which is why it's discounted. Maybe you can't see that. I don't know how well the stream's picking it up, but there's a fine like hairline scratch with the Epic texture. And this one has Epic on the inside as well. Another one that we put up here for patina purposes. Here's a Lucky wallet. This is beautiful. And a great way for me to demonstrate the figuring in the leather. So Epic natural shell, we get these ripples on the leather. You can see them here. It's a visual texture. And you can see what I'm talking about. If you see the sheen here, it's flat in feel. You can see a little bit of the texture, but you can see also that it's flat and smooth. It's very much a visual texture. You won't feel any pebbling there. It's a really cool Lucky wallet. Here's another navy aspen horsehide. This is our Vic Snap wallet with a quick access slot on the back in the acorn color. There you go. And then we have a machine gun jack in natural shell, and I think this is the Epic Natural, where you get a little bit more of that figuring. Now this wallet design is 13 years old. It's one single piece of leather folded over in half. We designed it originally just for cards. And if you want to put cash in here, you have to fold your cash into thirds, which a lot of people like doing. I don't really like doing that. So I think of it more as a card holder. And we have a couple valet trays that have Horween measuring machine stamps on the inside. And this is a good opportunity to explain the stamp. So again, each piece of leather that the tannery ships out gets this type of stamp once. And it's authenticating where it came from. So it says Horween USA. It tells you the area of the skin that was measured. So this is 19.2 feet squared. And then down here it tells you the date and the grade. So this is probably from last year. So this is September 12th. TR, Tannery Run. That means it's the highest grade that they have. which I should maybe explain grades another time. It's the grading of the leather just references to the cuttability of the area of the skin. So if it's TR, it's 85% cuttable, meaning that there's not any scratches, scuffs, scars, open holes on 85% of the skin. If you get a reject or a special grade from the tannery, that doesn't mean the leather is of worse quality. It just means it's less cuttable. So the grading is almost irrelevant. It's more on the maker to choose how to cut the leather appropriately. And this one's in black Chromexcel, one of the hot stuff leathers. Here's another one that's 17.5 square feet. This is kind of the low limit for the area that we normally see in Chromexcel. Chromexcel is air dried leather. So after they impregnate it with waxes, oils, and greases in a hot stuffing process, they hang this leather up on hooks and let it air dry for a week, and it shrinks the leather down. So the area of Chromexcel is much smaller than most leathers. Most leathers in the world for a side, you'll probably see around 25 square feet. So it costs Horween more money to make this leather because the area is smaller, even though they're using the same, in fact, more components in the tannage and those oils. So you're putting more into it and getting less area out of it. The leather's more expensive for that reason. But what you get as a result is an exceptional hand feel, and also often a tighter break because it has been air dried. So there's nothing, as that grain like dries and shrinks back down, as you flex it, they tend to be tighter for that reason. So we've got natural Chromexcel, and I think we have another color too, an English tan. So you can see the English tan here is 21.4 square feet. That's on the, that's about average for most Horween leathers. The Chromexcel's smaller. Horween doesn't really get up to 25 square feet for most things because they're again trying to get that break to be tighter. English tan. What else we got? I think there's a couple. Oh, we got another Patina bomb. I think we made several of these. These are one-shot card cases in the natural Essex leather. I think there's like 8 of them. So if you wanted to experience the Essex, this would be a low-cost way to do it. It's one of our least expensive products. It's just a good way to try out different leathers. How many cards can you fit in the machine gun jack? It depends on you. You can put, I don't recommend it, but you could put like 20 cards in there. But some people don't want to have to dig through that many cards. My number is, 4 to 8 personally, but you can really load these things up and they'll hold it. It's just more of like how nice of an experience that would be for you. Like on my Herbie, it only has, I guess I'll just show you. Hopefully I'm not going to show my credit card numbers, right? Yeah, so on my Herbie, there's 4 card slots, but I put 4 or 5 cards in each of these. So I'm holding 20 cards in the Herbie, and it's still quite thin. And I'm loaded, right? I got so much stuff in the back too. I'm normally not loaded. I don't know why I have a bunch of cash. But because of the card layout on the inside of the Herbie, it just lays flatter. So I often recommend and try to convert people into fat Herbie wearers, because especially if you're wearing it in the back pocket, I think the Herbie's the way to go. But some people get crazed by putting 4 cards in a slot. They only want 1. So I suppose it's all subjective. Like, it depends on what you want to do. For me, I like to carry more stuff. So I'll do 4 or 5 cards in each slot. And the one-shot card case, you can fit a lot in here as well. I have a friend, and she only uses this wallet. It has like 12 cards in it, and it's fine. But a lot of people don't want to put that many in. I think 3 or 4 is what a lot of people like, but you can certainly load up more and more. The leather will conform. This is very important. For all of our wallets, the leather wants to accommodate you. So whatever you put in it, the leather's going to want to envelop all the stuff inside and hold it in place. So the word of caution is that if you start with 12 cards on a one-shot card case here and decide one day you'd like to shrink down to 4 cards, the leather will have stretched to fit those 12 cards, and it might be a little bit too loose for less cards. So that's the word of caution there. You can always go up and carry, kind of not down. I mean, you can do it, but they get a little loose in there, and some people don't love that. The natural Essex is beautiful. Again, patina bomb, just about as good as it gets for patina here. And then we have a pit tanned horse butt in that same epic natural. This one's outrageous. I love it. We did a sort of like a secret limited release a week ago with horse butt stuff, and people went crazy for it. So we're going to try to do some more horse butt stuff in the future. Our problem with the horse butt is every single piece of leather is different, and even within the piece itself, they vary so much. So they're almost always one of one pieces because you get random figuring like this. So they're a little bit harder for us to stock. But we hear you that people love the horse butt stuff, so we're planning to do more of it. Here's a raw natural piece. Again, the goal for today was try to get more patina stuff out there. And then we have a vault key holder in reverse color 8. This might be the last piece. And then on our key holders now, we've got these reinforced holes. So there's a grommet underneath the screw post on each side. I've actually been carrying one. I have it in my pocket right now. I've been enjoying mine recently. Really like the vault key holder. Oops, I'm going the wrong way. Is that it? That's the last one. So we can take, if you guys have questions about stuff, I'd love to chat for a couple more minutes. Wow, it's just almost been an hour. I went too slow. Sorry it took so long. But yeah, I've been carrying the vault key holder. I kind of do, I mean, maybe it's silly, but I kind of keep whatever key I want to use out and like ready to go. But you just tuck it back on the inside and swivel it down and have them hang in there. And then I've been carrying this just in my pocket, but you can clip this iron key ring into anything that you're carrying. But maybe we go back. I'd love to answer any questions, especially about leather, because I'm such a leather dork. If you guys got leather questions, wallet questions, bag questions, let's talk about it. But I'm so excited about doing more bags. We're gonna make a push into larger items like this. And the most important thing for me is getting you something that you want. So any features you want to see in a bag, any styles of bag that you want to see exist in the world, I would love to hear about them. You can chat me up here about it. Maybe thoughts on hardware, thoughts on the zippers, anything you guys want, we're going to try to make it. Because the only way we've existed for these 14 years is by doing stuff that you ask for. So, all right, let's get some questions going. Are the horse butt strips always heavyweight, or can you get thin strips from it as well? So that's a really good question, Sunmaker, and I'll give you the long answer since we don't have a ton of questions yet. So if you were to go to the tannery and pick up a horse butt from them, odds are it's going to be really thick, really thin and narrow, and very firm. So it's not a proprietary process, but my business partner, Dan, is currently employed at the tannery. So he will work up those horse butts for us in a way that's appropriate for what we make. So I'll just tell you the secrets. We will dampen the leather and soften it and then thin it down at the tannery. And the problem with the horse butts are that they're so dense and thick, they're very hard to thin down in an even and consistent way. So by doing it when the leather is wet or dampened or softened or conditioned somehow, it lets the knife hit through that leather in a more consistent and even way. So the answer is no, they're not always heavyweight. We can get thinner stuff, and we do. But that took a little bit of extra effort. They don't just inherently come that way. Any other Western textures coming down the pipeline other than standard choices? Doug, that's a great question. We're trying to plan out some more stuff for the rest of the year. So it's good to hear that you want Western texture. I do intend to do Western texture. In fact, I'm hoping to do sort of a whole event focused on the Western texture, because in the past, it seems like a lot of people, including myself, love that texture. So we're planning limited releases and maybe even some like smaller batch stuff in the Western texture in different colors and different leathers. Jesse, thanks so much for your responses on the wallets. And heat. Oh yeah. Go surfing during hot weather, 100-degree days, and leave stuff in the car for safety. Absolutely. Yeah, my pleasure. Yeah, all the veg tans, it's not just Horween, it's any tannery that's veg tanning. Any veg tan leather is not heat resilient. So I think of it as, in fact, that's the main benefit. Or okay, people have this notion that veg tan leather is superior to chrome tan, and that it kind of, the answer is no and yes. Like it is and it isn't. If you want performance out of the leather, like if you're a firefighter and you're going to fight fires in the woods, you're gonna want a chrome tan boot. If you had a veg tan boot, that you'd have real problems. So anything that's very performance based, think about it. I saw a video on social media about a catcher's, or there was like a first baseman and the baseball went right through the glove. You need strength in the leather to be able to let your glove hold up to a force of impact like that. And veg tan leather is not strong, just inherently less strong than chrome tan. The reason being is there's fibers in the skin, and I think of it like a bowl of spaghetti, right? There's all these little fibers within the skin of the animal. And the job of the tannery is to bind all those fibers together and make it strong, but also flexible. And you can fill in those voids between the little spaghetti noodles with little bits of metal, chrome salts, or you can fill them in with little bits of tree barks, and it binds all those fibers together. The binding sites chemically on the chrome salts have more binding sites to attach to. Therefore, they are much stronger of a bond than tree barks. So they both have pluses and minuses. From what I was just saying, it sounds like chrome tan's the best. But in my experience, and this, I've been disproven on this, I just like the way that the veg wears in a little better, even on a combination tan leather. I feel like they give a more dramatic, beautiful patina. And the counterpoint to that is baseball gloves look awesome after they're used, and those are straight chrome. There's no veg at all. So that's where my brain gets broken a little bit, is there are examples of chrome tan leather that develop a great patina as well. The one thing that veg does that chrome doesn't do as well is holding shape. So if you dampen leather and put it around a form, like let's say I wanted to make, like I have this thermos. Let's say I wanted to make like a sleeve that's molded around this. If I were to use a chrome tan leather, you wouldn't get as tight of a form on chrome tan, but you get a very tight on veg. So what you do is you take a piece of veg tan leather, dampen it, get it soaking in water, wrap it around this thing and let it dry, and it will just hold that shape. The chrome doesn't do that as well. Are trifold wallets coming back? Are they made to order? We have trifolds on the site right now, Sprowly. You know, we had some requests for trifolds. I think basically they're not as popular, so we've sort of shied away from trifolds. I think part of the problem is they take so much leather and it's a huge pattern that we're not able to cost effectively make trifolds in a way that resonate with most people, because it's like a $500 wallet. So in Cordovan it gets really expensive because the pieces are huge. And the trifold back piece is this big, and that's about as big as the shells get, and they're $300 pieces of leather, and you have to do 2 of those cuts plus all the card pockets. It's just not a cost-efficient model for shell Cordovan, sadly. But we still make them. I can make you trifold right now. Do you, Chris Lee, do you expect the casing coating on Aspen to slow down the patina? Yes. So great question, Chris. So like anytime you put an additional barrier on top of the leather in the form of waxes, in the form of top coats, that extra barrier prevents anything from getting inside of it. And for what I've seen with patina is the more barrier you have, the more performance you'll get. You know, it will be more scratch resistant. You can protect it from sunlight. You can have it not fade in the color. But as a result of that, you get a little bit less patina. So most leathers that I see, like in the broad world, like if you go to pick a store and you find a leather good at, I'm just gonna It's like you saw my Costco card. Like if I go to Costco and there's a leather good there, odds are that leather is very heavily finished, meaning there's a huge barrier on the top. It could be top coats and paints, solid stains. All that additional extra put on top of the leather is going to prevent anything from going in it, including patina. So casein protein top coats on the Aspen definitely slow down the patina process, yes. But it gives you that bright shine. It gives it a really nice feel. There's always like a trade-off. Not a question, but looking forward to the boot camp Ashland tour. Oh, cool, Alec. Did you get, so for people that are unfamiliar, I mentioned the Patina Thunderdome. That same group that runs the Patina Thunderdome has something called the Stitch Down Boot Camp. And in the past, they had done boot camp in New York City. This year, in about a month, in November, there's the Stitch Down Boot Camp in Chicago. And it's a consumer show, so if you like footwear, you can show up and look at all your favorite boot makers and shoemakers there, but there's also small crafters, small leather goods people like myself that will be there. And we had, I think, 30 slots. They were asking me if I would participate. I said, yeah, we can have, we can give people a tour of Ashland, and we only allowed it to, I believe, 30 people. And apparently those 30 tickets for Ashland tours sold out in 5 minutes. So maybe you got a tour for Ashland. You were an early adopter for the boot camp tickets, Alec. But yeah, I'm excited to meet you there and everybody else. It's fun. We have a small little shop here, but I just love to show people leather, if you can't tell. I like to be a total dork for the stuff. William Harberts, on a show like this one showing what will drop, why not also show some of the custom pieces that have been ordered and made so people can get a better idea of what you do and how things look? William, that's a great question. I'll give you the truth. So it's really difficult for us to do made-to-order stuff logistically. Like, it's not hard to make it, but oftentimes there's a challenge going back and forth with customers and making sure we get them the right thing, because each piece of leather that we do is different. So if somebody says, oh, I want a psychedelic horse butt just like this, a lot of times like we don't have that again, because it could exist once. A year ago, we were doing more made-to-order stuff because I was talking about it a lot, and it starts to turn into like not a business, sadly, because I'd like to do it. So we have thought about making ways that we could accommodate made-to-order in a more efficient, streamlined process. But honestly, like the more streamlining we do, the less special the product can be, and that kind of sucks. So the answer to your question is, I used to do videos of all the made-to-order stuff on YouTube, and I stopped doing it because we kind of don't want people to do it. Like we will do it because we want you to have that thing, but it takes a long time and we charge a little bit extra money. So as a strategy to combat that, I've made a choice to do more limited releases and not have to charge you the extra fee. So that has been the hope. And unfortunately for me, like, I'm the type of person that has a hard time disappointing people, and I don't like making people upset or disappointing them. But I just have a hard time saying no, which is why we've left the made-to-order open, but we don't promote it. It's just kind of like I said, it sucks. I wanted to do it. We just don't have the capacity to be able to handle it, and I don't want to charge like $500 to do a custom thing. I don't want to do it. So I'd rather just make more consistent, more frequent drops, like tomorrow's drop at 5 p.m. on ashlandleather.com. Check out the limited release page. And that's been my way to like sleep at night with it. That's a good question. But yeah, you can go back and look at some of the past videos. I think there might even be a playlist here on YouTube where we have custom orders that I used to take photos and videos of many of the things that we shipped out. Dark Sands, do you think y'all will ever use non-Horween leather? I'd be open to it. I just feel like we have such a cool story to tell here, with everything being made within a couple blocks in the city of Chicago here. The tannery is essentially next door. We take stuff across the street, make it all here. I think it's like kind of a fun thing. But on top of that, just the leather that Horween produces, I think is special. And there's not to say that other tanneries don't have special materials. I just feel like every week Skip Horween calls me excited about some new leather that he has. So at the moment, like I don't see a reason to use something else because they keep pumping out interesting ideas. But I'm not closed off to using other tanneries leathers. There's other nice stuff in the world too. Jesse says, story to make you laugh. When I did my first wallet, I called you up for help with my zip wallet, denim zip. You said it would be addictive. Didn't think anything of it. And your girlfriend took your zip wallet, now you're addicted. Yeah, it's a slippery slope, man. I got to tell you, like, we did not expect that people would want, actually, maybe I did. Like the whole founding of the company in 2011, I just wanted to share these different leathers with people. And I was at the time working at the tannery, so I would take little cuttings of all the different pieces. Let's say aspen. I would put a piece of aspen in my pocket, put a piece of chrome excel in my pocket, put a piece of raw natural cordovan in my pocket, just because I wanted to see how it wore in. And I sort of just extrapolated that to the small leather goods because I wanted to see how they'd age. But it kind of seems like many people are of a similar mind, right? Like they want to just see how the stuff wears in and experience them, and it's fun. But I wasn't expecting people to buy hundreds of wallets from us. There are people that have hundreds of different wallets and they wear them and collect them. I was not expecting that. So yeah, it is a little bit addictive, Jesse. But that's again to the back, like the point of the bags. Like we just need to give you more opportunities to experience this stuff. So whether it's a pencil pouch, we get the glasses cases, we've got some bags. Like we're trying to give you more opportunity to experience and appreciate and enjoy the stuff, every day. You got your eye on some mini foxes. Don't tell people, they'll jump on them. That's the other thing is I have a hard time disappointing people, and the last couple drops have been getting a lot of messages with frustrated people saying that they couldn't pick up something that they wanted, and that doesn't feel good either. But yeah, there's a really, like literally only one of a lot of these things. You just can't reproduce some of that psychedelic stuff. Phil, I gave my, Sunmaker says, Phil, I gave my wife her made-to-order long wallet this Saturday. You guys did a great job. Oh, I'm so glad. That makes my day, man. Hopefully she gets a lifetime of use on it and it gets better and better. That's the goal. You got a decent collection of Ashland. I'm glad you're not the only one. So here's the problems probably, and it's the same problem with the Patina Thunderdome. I used to participate in the boot wearing part, and I would get a new pair for every time they did the event. But even in I think it's like a 3-month thing. Like I feel like 3 months isn't enough. I think you need like 3 years. Like I really want to see how stuff wears in over a long period, which is why I've been wearing the Cypress for a while. I just really want to put it through the paces and see what it does. And like 3 months is kind of not enough. Like how about 30 years? Like that's the problem with time and these leathers. They're designed to last forever. So even in like a 3-month period, it kind of doesn't tell the full story, right? I'll fight someone. Well, I'll give you the tips. So people that are still here in the chat, if you want tips for how to get the limited releases, I sit here in front of a computer 5 minutes before the event drops. And I'm literally looking at time.is on the website for it to hit 5 o'clock. And as soon as it does, I hit publish on all the products and they slowly populate up the site. So if you're sitting there exactly at 5 Central Time, I'm also sitting there ready to launch them. And if you're ready to go, you're already like logged in with your payment and stuff, which I think if you use like the shop, if you have like a shop account, it probably does a little bit of a faster transaction. But even if you're adding it to the cart, it doesn't hold it for you. You have to go through the whole checkout to grab it. So that's my advice, is just right at launch time, just be ready for it. And yeah, refresh. I do that too. I'll hit publish and then I have to make sure that they're working. So I'll refresh my own page to make sure it's going. But I have to tell you guys, like there's hundreds of people. I don't think it's ever been more than 1,000. But there's often, over the course of an hour, so say it drops at 5, from 5 to 6, there's a couple thousand people looking at that page. But right at the beginning, there's only a couple hundred. So to increase your odds, I don't want to give you like a weird stressful FOMO thing, but if you're there right at 5, that's high chance of grabbing it before the email gets sent out and people start to see it on social media. That's the pro tip if you really wanted to pick up one of these. But even then, I wouldn't stress about it. A lot of the fun is just being able to look at these different pictures. We're trying to do multiple drops a month, so there will be more in the future. We're not going anywhere. But hey, thank you guys for joining the live stream today. I love doing these so much and chatting with you guys. Thank you so much for being here and for supporting us. We have a small team here at Ashland of 12 people, and we're growing. And everybody here in my shop is so talented. And just on behalf of them, thank you for appreciating the work that they do and for supporting us and allowing us to continue to make different leather goods and put them out into the world. I don't know, I'm getting like weirdly emotional, but I just appreciate you guys very much. So thank you. And again, look out for the drop tomorrow at 5 p.m. Central. So thank you guys again so much. Hope you have a great rest of your day. And if you have any questions, I'll tune into the comments here on the video after it's done with the live stream. I'll peek in there and answer questions. All right, thanks guys. Have a great day. I'll see ya.